Dances of Us shares the journeys of dancers and communities from underrepresented backgrounds. Each episode highlights how movement becomes a language of identity, memory, resistance, and hope. Hello, my name is Lerna and I am the host of Dances of Us podcast. In our first episode, we will have Miriam Peretz as our guest. She is the worldwide celebrated dancer, trainer, and a choreographer. Miriam weaves movement and ritual together to create safe, communal spaces for healing and empowerment through dance. Miriam is joining to this podcast from a sunny garden in Berkeley, USA. The area is the original home of Hukun Chechenyo-speaking Eloni people. She has dark gray top, brown eyes, and dark brown back-braided hair. I want to welcome Miriam. Welcome to our Dances of Us podcast, and thanks for accepting our invitation.
Thank you so much for welcoming me.
Yeah, I just want to start directly with our first question. Can you tell us about your earliest memories of dance, Miriam?
Beautiful question. So my earliest memories of dance was probably when I was around 2 years old. And I lived with my grandmother a lot. And she had a big Persian carpet in her living room. And she always gestured me, Miriam. And she would gesture me onto the carpet. And it was my magic flying carpet. And I would go in the middle and I would whirl and I would dance and create these like magical fairy tale dance environments for myself. So those were my earliest memories, and I always thank and honor my grandmother for starting me on my dance journey.
Yeah. Do you remember the colors of this wonderful Persian carpet?
Yes, it was light blues and pinks and some gold, and it was so beautiful.
Yeah, it's a wonderful stage atmosphere. I'm sure about that. And then when you grow up, how dance become a language for you?
Mhm. So I was always, since childhood, very shy with voice and talking. I am still sometimes shy. And always movement and dance was my way of communication with the world, with people. And I spent pretty much my whole life on a dance journey through all different cultures. I studied dance from all over the world. And it
Mhm.
was like I wanted to speak all of the movement languages. I wanted to be able to communicate with all of the people in the world through the body. So in my youth, I did capoeira, I did a West African, Afro-Haitian, Cuban, I did Hawaiian dance.
Oh.
And then probably late high school is when I started to tap into my Middle Eastern roots and really got interested in North African, Middle Eastern dance. And then that led me to Central Asian, Persian, Turkish dance forms.
Yeah, wonderful. You sound like embodied diversity in dance, with all these different styles you practice. This is, I think, very valuable. And what cultural or ancestral lineage informs your movements that you already start to tell in your previous answer, but I just want to ask a little bit to be more specific.
Yeah. So in a nuanced way, I feel like everything I've done in my whole life, all of the forms are integrated into my body. But the forms that I kind of like my last passion in the timeline was Central Asian dance. So I really fell in love with Persian music,
Mm.
and music from all over Central Asia, also Azeri music, Armenian music, Turkish music. So I dove deeply into studying Central Asian dance. And I think Turkey is not necessarily Central Asia, maybe it's Western Asia. I don't know the exact terminology, but I spent a lot of time in Turkey studying both the circle dances of the Alevi Bektashi people
Yes,
and
yeah.
also Mevlevi whirling. I was initiated as a dervish actually here in California, my beloved teacher Hilal Ane. Um,
Mhm, mhm.
so I would say that all of the forms I've done are in my body, but what really is the most kind of alive and present and informing my current stream, which is Nava dance, I'll talk about that, is the Central Asian forms, and then the sacred dances from Turkey. And
Yeah,
and I really am connecting very much to shamanic roots. I feel like all of the dances from Central Asia, they're rooted in shamanic times, and they've gone through transformations and um, you know, Russianification, kind of this like uh, maybe like fine tuning, polishing, a little bit of Western forms did enter, but still like the root of the dance, there is a lot of healing energy in the dance forms, especially like whirling and the sacred circle dances. They are healing dances. So all
yeah,
these forms have kind of integrated into my body, still with a little bit of my contemporary dance background and my other world dance backgrounds. And I have formed what I call Nava dance, and that is kind of my baby, my branding, my format. I refer to it as a contemporary Central Asian dance format. Um,
hmm,
so it's not rigid, and it's not necessarily totally culturally specific, because I'm drawing on kind of a wide pool of movement, but that all feels connected and interwoven. So I'll also refer to some of the movement as pan-Central Asian. So movements that maybe would be found in a dance in Iran, that movements you would also see those in Tajikistan, maybe in Uzbekistan, Afghanistan. So like finding threads of the movement languages that weave together.
yeah, wonderful. Your dance sounds like very much integrated with rituals as well, beside being a performing arts fact.
Yeah, for me, more and more the performing part is kind of falling away, and what becomes more and more interesting to me is the ritual aspects. And if we are performing, I often refer to it as prayer forming. It's For me,
Mm.
it's about inviting in community into the experience that we are having. So it's less about like, wow, look at me, I'm beautiful, sparkly clothing, but more my intention with the performance is to create a shared ritual space. And my dance collective, Nava Dance Collective, we have a prayer in our tradition that we always offer at the beginning of a performance, and it really grounds the work in the intention of ritual, of healing, of bringing a sense of unity.
Yeah, yeah. That's the main, I think, the root, which is giving its shoots and then blossoming somehow.
Yes.
Yeah, in this like very culturally diverse and interconnected dance practices, how do you think colonialism, migration, or displacement shape your dance story? Or does it shape actually your dance story, any of these aspects?
Hmm. That's an interesting and I think hard question for me to answer directly. Um, so I was originally born in Jerusalem, and I always really felt this deep pain in my heart and in my body that there's just so much anger and so much separation and so much inequality in Israel Palestine. And I would spend a lot of time in the old city, and I would meditate on the overlapping prayers of the people. And I loved hearing the overlapping of the azan,
Mhm.
overlapping with the Coptic church, overlapping with the Jewish prayers. And I heard this beautiful music, and I would just weep that other people interpreted that music as maybe dissonance or not, like wanting to hear one of them stop. And I would just weep. And my whole life has been about unity, has been about how do we bring people together through movement, through dance, and cross these stupid borders of religion. And I mean, not stupid, religion is beautiful, but it's stupid when it causes separation and causes
Yeah.
fighting and destruction. And I really feel in some ways, I dove deep into Central Asian and Persian dance and Turkish, and I'm not of those cultures, but I feel that I am. I feel there's something in my heart and soul. It feels very authentic to me. It's not. I'm always like worried about this word appropriation. And sometimes I'll say, I am lovingly borrowing this movement from this particular dance. So I
Yes.
use this lovingly borrowed and um, yeah, and really like I'm so grateful that my work in the diaspora here has been received so well, and that people see my intentions and
Hmm.
are not saying, "Oh, she's from there, but she's doing this dance," and like trying to like pick apart. Um, so I think one of the beautiful things we can do as dancers and movers is be incredibly humble, and I
Yeah.
think in the dance world, sometimes that is not present.
Yeah,
And to
unfortunately.
really, really be humble and understand that the lineages and the cultures and the dance forms are, we are remembering them, we are honoring them, and we don't own them. We are like part of this stream and this movement, and just
Yeah.
see ourselves as like drops in the ocean and allowing the dance forms to really help us embrace the unity consciousness. And yeah, I pray that my dance practice can continue to kind of soften borders in people's hearts. I don't know that I can change political situations in places like Israel, Palestine, but at least when I dance with people, I pray that we can soften our hearts and create a sense of unity that can spiral and ripple outwards. So I don't know if that answers that question, but that's where I felt called to
Yeah.
speak
I
to.
just want to ask one more question in relation to your homeland.
Yeah.
What age did you left Jerusalem? And after you left, while you were in your young ages, during your adulthood, did you able to revisit the place? This
Mm.
would be my curiosity.
Yeah, my mom moved when I was quite young. She took me, so I was, I think, only like 3. And
Yes.
then I started going back as a teenager and spending a lot of time from 17, 18, 19 into my early 20s. I lived out of a suitcase for many years and I would go back and forth basically. I would travel. Um, I would go to Turkey, I would travel in the Middle East, then
Yes.
I would be in Israel, Palestine, and then I would come back to the Bay Area. And my kind of vision was circulating cultures and bringing cultures from, dances and aspects of the Middle East to here to California, and then bringing some of the California energy there,
Yeah.
much easier here for people to kind of, yeah, we don't have as many like borders and issues here with land. And so I feel like I kind of had this back and forth borrowing and giving and yeah, sharing of energy. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, in relation to all these journeys and then connections, I would like to ask you this question: that what does your body carry the history books doesn't say?
Oh, wow. I feel like my dance practice is very much, I mentioned the word remembering. And I oftentimes feel like when I'm with my sisterhood and we are together in dance, that we are recalling the ways of the old. And those circles, that was the high temple at one point in time. And I feel like kind of the patriarchal or patriarchy kind of inside of all of the religions has covered up so much of the divine feminine worship.
Hmm.
And for me, like my dance is very much about remembering the ways of the divine feminine. And I talk a lot about the body as the temple. And I think that that's a very kind of feminine centric um, value. And we are remembering that God and the divine has been throughout time worshiped through the body.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like the answer of my next question, which is about resisting, what you're resisting with dance. And I'm hearing that you are resisting for your and
Yeah.
for our actually communal feminine energy with your dance and revealing them, empowering them as it was in once upon a time in the old times, probably. Am I right with that?
Definitely. I mean, I feel like our dance is in some, yeah, a resistance to patriarchy and um, yeah, and I at the same time, like I embrace all of the world religions. I embrace Judaism, Islam, Christianity, all of the world religions I embrace, and I love to do ritual with people of all faiths. And then I kind of joke about it, but I actually feel very, very serious that my deepest practice is called mermaidism. And it's about connecting to the waters and
Mm.
the divine as the great waters of the world, and this connects to divine feminine as well, because the waters are like the womb, and for me this is also like a remembering. So my true religious practice is worshiping the waters, um, and yeah, this is kind of one of my
Yeah,
expressions.
I can hear your ecosomatic connection as well with your dance and your movement practices. Um, have you ever felt othered in your field of practice, and how does this shape your expression of dance?
Mhm. Yeah, I actually, in my later years, it was in my early 40s, got a master's in dance from a very kind of regular Western program. And I really, really prayed that it would empower me to kind of enter the system and be able to teach in higher education. And
Mhm.
it's just, it is so hard to get through to people, especially in academia, about kind of the importance of these esoteric forms. And like, even using like the terminology sacred dance, like I'm not going to get hired at a university easily. Like, so yeah, I feel like the other part is just like, is the forms that I'm doing feel so not recognized and kind of, just not, they're out of the box in a way that it's very hard for mainstream culture to relate to, kind of. I have a wonderful, beautiful following, and I wish and pray that my following would expand, and also that I would be able to, with my master's degree, teach in higher education. That was my goal.
Yeah. I think that's so important because also upcoming students should meet different faces and expressions of dance. And this is the higher education in dance needs to actually to be flexible, to be open-minded, and needs to be changed. Yeah, we cannot go with a certain, a few like centralizing a few dance forms and call this as a dance education because it's not holistic, it's not inclusive at all. Thanks for sharing these points.
Yeah.
And then, what does visibility means for you? I know that you have lots of followers on Instagram and other places. But how is your relation with visibility, and what does visibility means for you?
So yeah, visibility, that's an interesting question. I'm actually a very shy, introverted person. And I have had a lot of friends, kind of specifically one friend help me with Instagram and like, showing myself to the world in that way. But really like again, like coming back to humility, it's not that I want me, Miriam Peretz, to have visibility to the world. It's that the work that I'm doing, I feel so passionate about that I want visibility to what we are doing, what our dance collective is doing, to our message, to the sacred circle, bringing dance back to its original roots. Again, like the shared ritual experience, unity consciousness through movement. So that's the visibility that I am really craving for. And again, like also in higher education and in kind of, institutions and yeah.
Great. How does the land where you are living on it shape your movement and dance?
Very interesting. I always actually complain that I need more water and I need more nature, because my inspiration is really like drawn deeply from the movements in nature. So I escape the city quite often. I just came back from a beautiful river, Yuba River. But my movement in dance is of course shaped by my training and the forms that I've studied, but very much by nature. And
Mhm,
I
mhm.
work with breath. I have a breath practice. So the breath and nature definitely guide me. I'll say that when I'm here, kind of in California, in the urban environment, I feel like I am shaped a little bit by urban culture. And if you see my Instagram, you'll see some videos that are like totally different and kind of more urban, contemporary dance. So I feel I also have to integrate with kind of the vibe of the place that I'm in.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you start to a little bit also explain your relationship with the waters, and then I want to a little bit expand this question, like, what is the relationship between your body and more than human world?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess that brings me again back to the remembering. So I feel like very connected to ancestors, and oftentimes we'll stand in a circle and kind of do an honoring of ancestors, maybe a particular ancestor, or just tapping into what we feel in our body, how our ancestors are speaking to us. So yeah, I feel like when I'm dancing, I am always connecting to my ancestors and to future future generations. And there's a sense of timelessness, that time kind of can slip away, and we enter into a spirit realm when we dance. It happens for me very naturally when I'm whirling, when I'm in my dervish practice and I'm whirling.
Mhm.
um, there's an immediate sense of unity, of that my body is both part of the earth, part of the animal world, the spirit world. I am no longer Miriam, but I am everything.
Wonderful. How do you share your practice with the others?
Hmm. So I teach weekly classes, um,
Yeah.
and sometimes I also do monthly workshops. My monthly workshop is called Turning Towards the Heart,
Mm.
which is very much kind of rooted in whirling practice and sacred circle dances. And I am starting a new class this Sunday, which is going to be in nature. So we're going to be dancing every Sunday morning in, I call it a tree temple, but amongst the trees. So these are the ways. I also teach, I have an online school. So my online
Mhm.
school is all pre-recorded, and many students study with me. They'll study through that, and then all of a sudden, after a couple years, they'll emerge at one of my retreats, and it'll
Wonderful.
be amazing because they'll know all my dance language, and I feel this immediate connection. Even though I'm meeting them for the first time, it's as if I've already been dancing with them. So every summer, I teach in Europe and Turkey. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
this coming summer will be my 10th year of Sacred Dance of the Heart, and that is one of my favorite weeks of the whole year. I wait all year. I have such a love for all of the land of Turkey. Every time I go, I have this feeling in my body of home. I don't know if some of my ancestors lived in Turkey, but I have a very deep connection. So it's really one of my.
Yeah, definitely, Turkey is also geographically it's very transitional place, so probably there has been some connections with ancestral connections. It is really very deep and many has many layers of
Yes.
culture and history. So that's the main richness of it, I think so. So, what would you like younger generations to remember or reimagine about your dance?
Hmm. Wow. I think everything that I've said, that dance is a spiritual practice, that our bodies are a temple, and that the real root of dance is not necessarily, going into a dance studio, looking in a mirror and doing first and second position, but that dance is a way that we come together in community to celebrate the mysteries of life, to unify ourselves as community, to feel unity of all of creation. And that dance really is a way of honoring all the transitions in life. So I also like to make mention that dance can be used also for grief. Many
Yeah.
people think that dance is only like a happy thing, and my students all know that I love sad music. Most of my playlist has minor chord music because I love the crying and I call it deep song. So that, yeah, dance is not just for happy moments, but that dance is a way of honoring every single aspect of the human condition and the vast landscape of emotions. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I can hear that you also approach to dance as an act of resistance and also embracing all the emotions. I would like to head to my last question to you. If you could design a world where your dance was fully seen and valued, what would your dance choreography would look like?
Wow. I feel like it would look like it does. I don't know if that, um,
How
yeah.
would you imagine that scene, for example? Like how many dancers, which
Oh,
colors,
oh, okay.
what kind
Oh,
of a geography
oh, wow, wow. Okay,
or
so my imagination
stage?
just this is what came to my imagination with that question, um, is that there's mountains all around, there's a big river, and I have a large group of women in concentric circles. So this has actually been one of my visions is to do, I have a dance called Dance of Unity, and
Yes.
it's two circles and then one dervish in the center who is the portal. But I actually even wrote in my will, I have a will, that when I pass, I invite all of those who've learned Dance of Unity to create many like many circles, concentric circled dance of unity. So I think that would be like my dream or vision, and that dance would be like maybe it happens at a specific time of day each day, and that people go out to either watch and witness and experience the prayer, be in the prayer, or to be in the dance, and it be kind of like yeah, a community meeting, a nonverbal meeting, a meeting of just dropping into spirit realm, dropping into unity, dropping into the breath. And yeah, maybe we'd be in white whirling dresses.
So journey beyond words.
Yes, exactly. Perfectly said.
Yeah. Oh, Miriam, it was very nice to talk with you, and thank you for joining to my podcast. We come to the end of this lovely conversation, but I'm sure people who listen this podcast in a different times, in a different places, the conversations and all the story and all the values you establish into your dance will reverberate in their body. I'm really feeling that, and this is a spell to eternity. And as you said, one day when we passed away, our dances will keep living, and the next generations will keep growing it and developing it. So this is, as you said, we are not just dancers, but we are I think transmitters of a dance as a dancer, that in your conversation you signifying of a humbleness. So I think we shouldn't forget that we are just transmitters of dance art. And it is so sacred and it is coming from ancient times. And then instead of AI and future technologies, I want to say ancient is the future. That is one of my manifestations which make me feel good. And then it was very nice to connect with your ancient sacred dances with this podcast. So thank you very much for your time and hope to see you dancing in another time in another place.
Yes, thank you so much for hosting me and for this conversation. And yeah, may the dance help bring peace to planet Earth. May dance really be our teacher to come back to our hearts and our bodies, which are all connected. It's one human species.
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you for listening to Dances of Us podcast. I hope you enjoyed our time together. Before we close, take a moment to check in with your body. How do you feel right now? Which parts wanted to move? Remember, the body holds stories, and it has the power to transform them too. I'm your host, Lerna Babikyan. Take care and see you next time.